We are rolling, recording. Cool. So let's start. Cool. Thank you, Magdalena, for being here with me. And if you want to give me a brief background about yourself, and we can go through the questions.
Sure. Thank you, Amir. So I am the educational specialist in the institution that I'm working right now. I have been involved in education around 20 years. I study language and communication. I became a teacher back in Chile like 15 years ago. Then I studied a master in language and communication at UPC. And I'm finishing right now my PhD in language and communication in UPC as well. I have teaching background around all spheres of education. So I have been teaching from kindergarten to primary school, secondary, adults, and professional development at this point. So I have a very big background within education. Regarding online education, I have been involved in the last 5 years with online platforms, learning from them, and later on teaching in online learning environments even before the pandemic. So I have experience before the pandemic, everything before it became so widely popular as it is in the current time. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so you have both experiences in person and, well, in-person teaching, online learning, and online teaching too. Yes. So that's great combination, because there are new models like e-learning doesn't only serve for online, it can be hybrid, right? You can do mixed or blended type of learning too. So you are a good candidate if you want to design some type of courses for that. You have both experiences too. And you mentioned you work with different e-learnings, and what other options you worked during these 5 years? You mentioned different platforms. I think you had a couple of important or famous platforms you have experience with them.
Yes, I use Blackboard and then Canva. So I use those two before using OpenEdX as we're using right now.
Mm-hmm. And why you chose OpenEdX? How you found about OpenEdX first? Was it like investigation you've done in your institution? You've done some investigation, found out about OpenEdX, or you already knew about different options you have for e-learning?
I think no, it becomes a research project. It was before my time here, so I was not involved in the decision making. However, what I know about the process is that we were looking for a sustainable environment that we can grow within it. So using a commercial product like Blackboard or Canva, it would not allow us to be proprietary and to grow with it. So we decided to become sustainable and have ownership of our own platform, of our own resources. And that's why we decided to go with OpenEdX. Even when I was, again, because I was not involved in the decision, I am still very happy that they took that approach, because I'm really confident with OpenEdX, and I'm really happy with the products that we're having.
Cool, that's great. Yeah, I personally, I worked with Moodle and OpenEdX, and Moodle with experiences as technical developer I had with Moodle. It's open source too, nice, but it's not too scalable. You can't scale that too much, and it's not too modern. So the interface, user experience, well, OpenEdX has some room to improve too for user experience too, but Moodle, you feel it's way behind in user experience. And Canvas and Blackboard, D2L, there are a lot of platforms out there, but as you mentioned, it's hard. It's going to get too expensive if you want to grow with them. You have to pay a lot of money for the subscription of the users you are going to have, or demanding any type of customization, or they are not doing any customization for you, and your data at the end, you are not going to be owner of your data. In case if tomorrow you decide OpenEdX is not anymore good option for you, you want to go with Moodle, you can just get a backup of your MySQL and MongoDB database and use that somewhere else in your platform. Cool. So you are happy with OpenEdX. I'm sure during the conversation we had, you see some rooms for OpenEdX to improve, but you are happy with You see that as better option as other platforms you personally have experience with them to work with?
I think, well, from a I think that I have 2 points of view over there. Like in from a teacher perspective, from more like an instructional designer sort of view, it's easier to navigate commercial platforms. They're more user friendly, and you can easily understand how you navigate that and move things around and play with them. So in that sense, like to work with OpenEdX, it really involves you more interest and like to learn more and to manage HTML a little bit, not that much, but also it requires more interest, which is more challenging, but it's also more rewarding. I think that's from a personal point of view. So I feel better working with OpenEdX because I think that I'm learning more, even when even compared to the other platforms. Now, from the point of view of the enterprise, again, I think that because we have ownership of the resources, it becomes more sustainable. It becomes a long-term resource that we can use and we can grow with it. So in that sense, yes, I'm really happy that we choose OpenEdX.
Cool. Yeah, and the part you mentioned is completely true. So OpenEdX, you host that now, host it on your, if you want to host that in your own server, you keep the server and the community is updating the code base. We update, upgrade the platform, and you're owner of everything, of the platform, of your database, everything forever. And you personally done a lot of stuff. You did integration with Zoom. You've done a
Yeah,
lot of cool stuff, and that's the learning curve OpenEdX has. As soon
yeah,
as you learn how you connect dots and pieces together, you can do great stuff in the platform. I've done, for
yeah. And
example, in your case, it was crazy. I've seen nice games and stuff like that. If you want to give some feedback about those, how you've done those too, that would be
well, and it becomes really fun at the same time. You also start losing the fear of it. Like at the beginning, I was like, oh, developers are these, you know, strange
geniuses.
people, geniuses that know another language and they manage it. And wow, coding is such a difficult world. And I learned a little bit of coding, teaching coding to kids. So it's like, but this is basic, and what the developers do is much more complicated. And when you start doing it, no, it's not that difficult. It's just like a learning curve, as you mentioned, and but you get it. Like you can do it, and it's like, oh, everybody can do it. Now it's a learning curve, and you have to teach them, but really everybody can do it, and everybody can become and learn about it. The integrations of that you mentioned of games and other resources, that has been part of my pedagogical perspective. Like I do believe in the gamification of learning, so especially with e-learning platforms where the concentration span is very, very short. So if you have a video, like I normally try that the videos are no longer than 6 minutes.
exactly.
With some experts it's easier than others, but well, we have to navigate that as well. If but then after the videos, like short like close questions that can really engage with the content, and after that a little game, even with the same questions or not, but from a different format. Just changing the format of the questions and changing the format of the content, people get really more involved and participating. So the level of engagement, it's much better, and the competition of the courses as well has improved in that sense, because we know that with online platforms, there's a lot of dissertation and a lot of people that leave the course, but with the games and with this, and we do blended learning as well. So we have Zoom sessions on Tuesdays and Fridays, just like because we have it through the whole week. So just in the middle of the classes, we have Zoom sessions that allow people to connect and get more involved, and that also helps in the motivation and in the learning.
That was there were two good points. I'm going to ask you more questions about those. First, that was new for me. I didn't notice that you mentioned you have same content, but you are changing the model. You are showing that content to the students. One is you're presenting a PDF. Next one is a simple text. The next one is game. Next one is question. You mean that, right? You have same content,
Mhm.
but in different ways to make sure a student different students with different needs. One is visual, one is reading, one is hearing. They engage at the end, they learn the stuff, the
And also
course.
it's the repetition as well, like just as you like, we know that people learn by repetition, so it's not like the old model of learning that you have to repeat many times writing everything. Well, now we have different technologies that can allow us to repeat in different modes. Like I normally use the word modes, like from a visual mode, from a auditive mode, from a more doing stuff. So as we cannot do much stuff because we're not in the classroom with them, well, let's engage in different ways with the platform.
Exactly. Yeah, that was interesting. I'm going to remember that. And about the Zoom, how you are using a Zoom integration, if you want to give little more information about that. I noticed you have Zoom sessions. You are not going to share information about how everything,
No,
like the whole process, but the Zoom
I
sessions, you
don't
have the
remember.
content and you have the people join together, they talk, or there is instructor talking to the students. How the live sessions work, how you take advantage of that feature you
Actually,
integrated.
it's pretty good. Yeah, I integrated. I don't know if I can do it again, but no, I actually can. I did it twice, so I think that I can do it
You've done that.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we do it, so the mod because the institutions that we have, some of the experts speak another language. So it's very interesting because we also are allowed to use the features of Zoom of simultaneous translation. So which is fantastic. So what how normally goes is like the we have the instruct, so we have the expert, the subject matter expert, but we also have facilitators that are part of our team. And depending on the course, we have translators, and now we have someone that is a technical person that really help us out with the technical problems that happen. So this team of our people meet a half an hour before just to prepare for the class and solve any issues. And then all the participants are waiting in the waiting room and they arrive on time and then they have the class together. And depending on that, they will have simultaneous translation or not, or they will talk about it. However, every class that is happening with Zoom, it normally requires group work. So it's not like a lecture where the experts talk for 30 minutes. That's not effective. For that we have videos, for that we have it on the platform.
Exactly.
So it's definitely, they're not talking. They do some explanation of the content. We do have like certain amount of times where they do present certain things, but very, very little. What they normally do is they do group work. So they go to breakout rooms,
Cool.
small groups of 4 and 6, and that's fantastic because when that happens, that's when the people open their cameras, they talk to each other, they make the connections that they need to happen, and they really connect to one another and create the learning that needs to happen.
Exactly. Well, I think we say online learning or learning, but normally most of the people, how they develop courses is there is offline video. You just hit the play button, you see the video, answer some question, get your grade certificate, and that's it. That's not too much online learning. What you are doing, you have live classes, people can, I can say project based, right? You have a project, those different groups work together or talk together about the specific.
It's case study. We talk about problem-based learning. So we have one problem that is developed across the course, and within the groups they have to solve it, and they have to get into different solutions to solve the problem.
Perfect. That's really great way you are using, and you took advantage the new features of Zoom, right? This break room, all the stuff you mentioned, they existed before or they are new and
I learned from Zoom in March, so I don't know, from since March it has
something happened.
I don't know what happened before March, but since March there have been breakout rooms and we're taking advantage of all that technology.
Excellent. Perfect. Cool. And what else? Like there is other stuff you see, it's so creative using OpenEdX or using this type of contents models genuinely. I remember you mentioned you're using that Zoom.
We're using different apps to connect with, because OpenEdX sometimes is a little rough. I mean, like a little, it's not that user friendly, and like to work in it, it's a little more complicated. So we have great apps that connect with OpenEdX, and we can use it outside the platform. That it's very useful. Of course, not like, and it's terrible because like people is like, oh, let's use a Google Doc because it's so easy, and that really allows us to get out of the platform.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it really works, like when you teach people how to work in a Google Doc and work it outside. So we try to make it connect in different ways where it's available and connected with the platform that allow us to work with those connectivity things that are beautiful and easy to work with, uh, and what we have that is sustainable with OpenEdX.
Excellent. And
Yes, yeah, we use Genially because it's really easy to design and to create content. Again, I am not a designer, so I cannot create. I'm more like an educational specialist. So to create something from scratch, it's absolutely out of my scope and my specialty. But there are certain apps that are really easy to navigate and to integrate it.
cool. Yeah, I agree with you in that part because in OpenEdX, creating content, if you want to create something out of box of OpenEdX, something that it's not as simple as text editor or HTML, CSS. Well, those HTML, CSS, you know that really well, that they can get so complicated too and time consuming to develop. But the good part is you can connect integrate different systems as what you are doing now. And to me, it looks really great. Though the course you developed sounds, to me, looks one of the best courses I've seen someone developed on OpenEdX. Yeah, that's why I really was interested on your point of view and feedback for OpenEdX. Cool.
Thank you. And what we have done also, and I think that was something that you mentioned in one point when we were planning the courses, is like one unit has to have one content. And I have followed that rule very, very like to the point because it's true. Like you have the instruction, then a video, then a little competition mark, and then move on to the next unit, and then you have another content or another activity. And then you have like the participants doing next in their screen and not getting lost within scrolling down and getting into too much content. So everything that we saw, even if we include PDFs, they have one visual. So you have one screen to look at it and then move to the next one. So they have that place and that connectivity and that pace that is really moving to the course.
Exactly. And I think for the student, it feels good because as instructional designer, you are giving knowledge or content in pieces. You don't give overload the student with knowledge. You give that in pieces and the student feels accomplished something by hitting next. Okay, I learned something. I watched the video, hitting next. And that feels good for a student to keep working in the platform too. Because if you feel overloaded, that was too much information for me, you just sign out or you just go check your Facebook or go somewhere else.
You open the other screen. You open the other screen that is open next to it. So it's really to maintain attention and to retain the attention because it's so little. And it's every time we go to virtual world, the spam retention is so little that you have to make it very short as well. Short and sweet, and then move on. Short and sweet. And also, I really like the check marks that we have in OpenEdX that also make you feel that you have advanced. It's really good.
Exactly. Those type of features you mentioned, that was a good point that you check you done button in each unit, you can add that. And that's more than adding that for grading or see how is it or monitoring the students. It's more than for a student who feel engaged with the platform and accomplish something. Because there is no other way. There is no teacher in live with the student to tell them, okay, good job, you've done that, really good job, you finished it. That's the virtual way to tell the student that they finished something to feel satisfied with the process.
And because we were working with adults here. Like I am working with adults, and I come from a pedagogy that it's not really that controlling over. I think that we have really moved from a very controlling sort of pedagogy to a more self-paced and allowing students to have control over their learning process. Exactly. And in that sense, making them have really the ownership of that. It's more like to check the box and say, okay, this to-do list, okay, I did it, and then I move on. It's really rewarding in that sense. Yeah,
Exactly. And I remember in some cases we didn't even impact the grading. It was only for that reason, that for the students to
yeah,
feel good and continue their learning. That's it.
yeah. Most of it, like most of the courses are pass fail anyway, so it really
Exactly.
doesn't matter the grading.
Doesn't
It's
matter.
I am really doing it to make the participants have ownership in their learning. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of, well, you are the person who decide, but for me, grading never was the right way to tell someone knows something really good or no. Mostly, if you hand them some project, ask them to do something, or in your case, some case study you are doing together, and see the reaction, how they handle the stuff, or the knowledge you're handing them, how they are using that, is better way to qualify the students. Okay, they learned something or not, more than the typical grading. You answer some questions out of the memory and you get the grades. But I leave that for instructional designer. I'm not instructional designer. Yeah,
Well, I think that the yeah, I don't I believe I came from a pedagogical school where memory it's not the most
exactly.
valuable cognitive learning process. I think that creativity and doing thing is much more involving in the process of learning rather than memorize something. So when you are introducing more abilities in the process of constructing learning, you're doing better learning than just memorizing one particular concept. Uh, because I can memorize a phone number, but it will not affect me in how do I really use a phone. So
Exactly. Yeah.
it's learning to use and to do more important than actually the content itself, like are the abilities at the end that we really want to move
Exactly.
forward to that.
I see that a lot in technical field with
Yeah,
programming, all the stuff we
yeah,
do. We can't memorize all the lines of codes in our, it's how
yeah.
we think and how we use our programming knowledge. So for
And
me, it
that's
was common sense that instead of memorizing stuff, I have to use the knowledge I learned instead of memorizing. I can't be too creative, as you mentioned. The
yeah.
student
No,
will
you
start.
have computers for that. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't have
exactly. They do
you
the manual
they
job,
do it
automatic job. Yeah.
they do it much better. They will never forget something. I will forget it all
Exactly.
the time,
Yeah.
but it's the learn
And it's good.
like
There is no
yeah,
issue there.
it's no
Yeah,
problem. But like it's how you think and how you do things. That's the learning that you really want to encourage.
exactly. Cool. I think we talked a lot about OpenEdX. Now let's talk about our work, how we work together. So I remember you had really rough deadline for going live, right? So we knew each other. We met. I think it was end of or beginning of August. We met and we
Wow,
started working. Yeah, that, well, it's not too
it
long
was
time.
not too long. No,
Yeah,
that's what
and you went
I'm
live on
surprised.
October. So it was 1 month and a half.
August,
It was,
September. It was a
yeah, it
month and
was
a half,
months and a half or 2 months for going live
2 months
for
and a
you.
half.
For
It
three
was
courses, I
crazy.
remember you had three courses from scratch, nothing to
Two
three
courses
live
from
courses,
scratch.
two
Yeah,
courses. And
at
with
the
all the
beginning was
integrations,
with
Zoom,
all the
Rocket Chat, Genially, all the stuff we talk about. So, and well,
yeah,
you and your staff
my,
didn't have OpenEdX knowledge. So OpenEdX was new
at all.
platform for you. Yeah. So how was your experience in that area?
I follow the studio course,
Mhm.
Open edX Studio. I in
Provided by
online
edX, right?
provided by edX, yeah, and it was very straightforward, very easy to follow, like ridiculously easy to follow, and you also have experience with other platforms. And at the beginning, I was terrified. I was like, "Oh, this is an open source." I had some knowledge about Ubuntu, some knowledge about coding, and I was literally terrified. So as a good student, I study and sit down and do the whole course and take notes and millions of notes. And but I think that I was in the middle of it. It's like, this is pretty common. This is pretty easy, and I
Now makes
feel very
sense.
confident. It makes sense. It's not this terrifying. So I keep doing it, and it really I feel pretty confident. And I think that it also really helped that you were always available for questions and discussions and
Sure.
very open to all the time to solve any little issue.
Sure. Yeah,
and
that was one of the
that really
stuff
helped.
I told you, like when we met and we were in the process of closing the deal and working together. I told you, like, I'm more than software provider just telling you, okay, here is the software, I installed that, I did the customization, now it's your problem to use that. I promise, like, I'm with you in the whole journey of developing your courses. I make sure that your project is going to be successful. And I did my best, to be honest. What is your
No.
comment on that? Yeah.
No, and I think you were. I think you were for sure. Like, I only have good words about your work and your ability to communicate and to your ability to not only support in the technical aspect, but even emotionally, like all the amount of messages that we have to each other, like, yes, you can do it, or yes, we can do it, and like it's very late some nights or very early for you some other days, and like, emails are very late, so we can work it early. And that flow of energy really work out to have a great product in 2 months. I sometimes forget that we
to
do
me
it
was
so
like,
fast.
it was so fast. And now seeing your platform has how many courses now? You have 8 or more than that? You have in two
Yeah, but we
months
have
and a
some
half. Yeah. Well, even you have live users for those courses. Even if they are
Yes, we do.
repetition, you are managing
Yeah.
live students, and that's not hard. That's not easy. That's hard.
It is
Yeah.
hard. It is hard. Yeah, sometimes I forget.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
We already talked about that before recording. That you was in the middle of crisis of developing a course and fixing
Yeah.
stuff.
But now
Yeah.
it has become like part of it. Like there's there's a new course that I have to open next week. Yes, let's do it. Like,
Exactly.
but and you learn it every time with each course. You learn so much, so much, and you clean them up and you make it better. And also because you're so flexible, you personally are so flexible that I can upload my content for each week sometimes and make all the changes that we need, and it's really great. So we can. I think that we have worked very well together in the sense, not only from the platform and technical point of view, but also from a personal point of view, that it really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I think that was one of the stuff I haven't done that right before a couple of years ago when I started. That my whole mission was technical part. I create something for you, give it that to you. It doesn't really matter to me the development of the course and stuff like that. But I learned that we are in this together. If you become successful in this project, that makes me successful too. But if your course doesn't make it or you are not going to be successful, that's going to be bad for me. And it's not going to be a success for me. So I've done
And
my
then
best in that area. Yeah.
no, you have done your best for sure. And it's also those conversations because you have experience in open edX and you know how the other courses have been developed all over the world. And when you tell me that experience, it was like I have experience from my context, from all my teaching background, and all the things that I have learned in sometimes in the book, sometimes in the classroom, but sometimes in particular context. So to have those conversations, it really broadens what you can do and what you cannot do, and what really works in certain parts and what does not work. So that's very important. It was very important for me, and it is very important to have those conversations.
Exactly. And now that I'm thinking, it wasn't only me and you. I'm in
No.
Ecuador, you are in Canada, and you have other staff in multiple countries in Latin America, right? And
Yeah,
all of
all
us
the courses.
distributed to work together, developing courses and making sure your students can get on date to the courses and finish the course. Yeah, now that I think, like, it's huge work we've done together.
Yeah,
And we
it's great.
distributed, and during the COVID, during the crisis, all of us, we had, yeah, so big
Yeah, it has
success.
been. It
Yeah,
it is. It is. We should have had some cheerful.
exactly.
We
Yeah,
should.
when lockdowns, all this stuff over. Yeah, or virtual party we can do.
A
We never
virtual
have
party.
time for party, but yeah,
No,
you're always
but we
busy
should.
with courses, but yeah,
We should make some time for partying and to celebrate all this success because it has been a lot. Yeah.
cool.
Um.
And at one point you think we have to improve, or something you think it could be better, but there's way, because I'm always see the
mm,
room to improve in OpenEdX and in our end, or how we work together. If you have any comment or feedback in that area, that would be great to know too.
I think that one of the features that still is difficult for us to navigate for my participants and for integration and everything, it's the forums and the chat. I think that that's one of the two features that we will like. I think that but it's also happened. It is difficult because for one, open edX is not easy and it's not easy to develop, and also because we're so used in the context that I'm working at with all the participants with other commercial features of instant communication that they think that everything is going to be
Is
instant.
like that. Mm-hmm.
And I know that is not the case with open edX. So, for example, in the context that I'm working, there's abundance of WhatsApp. That's the only platform we
Yeah.
use, and they're used to it. And so whenever you introduce a new way of communicating that is not as flexible, it
And
comes
it's
with
not
certain
scalable
risks.
for you and
Yeah,
your team. Yeah, you can't. If in tomorrow you're going to have, right now you have a couple of hundreds of users, but if tomorrow that those couple of hundreds going to be thousands, you can't manage that amount of
no,
WhatsApp messages. Yeah,
no.
and that's a
So
known issue with OpenEdX. I think in the first meeting we had, I told you that forum
mm,
discussion is one of the really old looking and functionality is not good at all in OpenEdX.
mm,
And it's under development. We've developed
yeah,
the Rocket Chat integration. So soon in a week or week and a half, we are going to push that to production to see how it works and is
yeah,
going to
and
help.
I'm not in a rush, but I think that those are the things that. But I don't think it's the problem of OpenEdX. I think it's the problem of also
Concepts or how people
of
think or used
mm,
to do. Mm-hmm.
how people think and use it at other platforms. So they think that that's the way of using it, and
Exactly.
that change is different. So in that sense, we have time through the first courses that we did in October, from these courses that we're doing that now in November, we have changed some of the models and some of the practices that we developed in order to adapt to the participants, considering their feedback, considering the level of engagement, and considering which activities are successful and which ones are not. So I think that that also works. It's not only the platform, because the platform can offer certain things. I can propose certain other things, but what the people are using, it also determines what we will change and move forward.
Exactly. And something I feel like is still missing in OpenX. Well, we have other integrations like insights and other dashboards reporting that we are going to soon to have, but still we are missing a sense to give mentoring to the students one by one to see how students they are doing, having a visual information about the
Mm,
students and the experts or instructional designer job is going to be just giving mentorship or helping those students they are not progressing well, not leaving them alone to just don't
mm.
continue the course. I think that's other stuff you are working on right now to
Yeah,
improve and give you
yeah,
some. We have the data, we just don't have the visualization that we are going to have that soon too.
yes,
So yeah,
we
that's
will have it soon.
exactly. Yeah,
Soon
cool.
in our world means like a couple hours. So yeah.
Exactly. In hours, minutes, or seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, we have that thing very fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Any other thought or shout outs or comments or something you want to mention before we wrap up the session?
No, I'm really happy with it. I'm really happy with working with you. I'm really happy with OpenEdX. I think it has been a great experience. Very, very successful and very fruitful, and a learning, and also a very rich learning experience for me as well.
Exactly. And I think for you in your case, I don't know, I'm not saying how you feel, but I think you are seeing that the possibilities like about how you can create the content, it's not going to be too hard or too complicated. You have rooms of possibilities, type of contents you can use, how you can publish the course, different functionalities we have with OpenEdX. I think you lost the fear of developing new course, which you are doing right now, developing new courses like each month or each week. I see you have new courses. You lost the fear and you see possibilities. You have a lot of
Yeah,
possibilities, different variety of contents you can push to the platform.
yeah, yeah. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Perfect. Thank you,
Excellent,
Magdalena, for your time. And we reach out soon again. We talk soon. Thank you.
excellent. Thank you very much.